Great day, it's Ari, and I am your master braider here to teach you lesson 1, braiding fundamentals. And let's give you the basics. So in this class, you're going to learn how to braid. I mean, everybody doesn't know how to braid, so here we are teaching you the foundations of getting a 3-strand braid on the scalp. The struggle is real. Now, what you'll need is a precision comb with a rat tail, some braid gel, and a head that is willing to sit down and practice on. Now, we will learn about proper grip, so let's not tear out somebody's scalp trying to braid. We will learn proper braiding techniques. We will learn how to hold our hands and the difference between an overhand and an underhand braid so that you are braiding in the proper direction and getting the style that you're looking for. So follow me over to our training area so we can learn. Welcome to class, girl. All right, we are here. So welcome my handy dandy model. And we're gonna introduce you to what you need for this class. This is braiding fundamentals. So you don't need much. I've got my willing participants. And what we will need is our precision comb. Make sure that it has your rat tail and your open parting at the top and your braid gel of choice. They don't pay me, so we ain't shouting them out. Now, to get started, it is very, very important to go ahead and get a part down. So I'm going to find her middle because that's where I'm going to start from. Now I'm going to find her nose and I'm going to angle my rat tail from her nose up her forehead and through the first part of her scalp. I will lift and I will separate. That starts my rough draft. Now I will align my tail to the part I just created and take it all the way back to the nape of her neck, which is essentially that dip in the skull at the back of your head. Some people's hasn't formed all the way, but it's okay. Let's take it all the way back, and that is our first part. Super simple. I haven't added anything to it. I just want to start my part. Now, I'm going to take my comb, come back to the front, keep my tail aligned to that first part I made and take it all the way back. Take it in small sections because we don't have to rush. Why are we rushing? We're trying to get this technique down. So we're taking it all the way back to the nape of the neck. That's it. That's all. So that's our first part. Now I'm gonna get these sections of hair out my way, just so that we don't get them tangled in our parting up here. Thank you, girl. Now, technique is absolutely important, okay? Now, what we want to do is the section of hair that we've created, my part is not sectioned too large. I want to make sure that these little old hands can actually handle this hair that I'm about to take on. So first things first, let's go back to the front of her hair that we've just parted out. Small section. What this does is it ensures that I am close to this hairline so that my braid does not start all the way back to the middle of her head. Because who wants a far back braid? It looks crazy. Okay, let's get that together. Now with this first little piece that I pulled out, I am doing 3 strands. Separate the 3 strands. Now with these 3 strands, it's a 3-strand cord. Now, we're doing an underhand braid. That is absolutely important. So please make sure you have 3 strands and we're going to do an underhand motion. What this does is that it secures it tightly to the scalp. So we're going to pinch our pointer and our thumb, grab the outside strand. The same rules apply on the other outside strand, your pointer and your thumb. This middle strand has to be secured by your middle finger on either hand at any point in time that we're doing this braid. So please remember that. No palms, no other fingers on the ends of your hands. 3 fingers, thumb, pointer, middle, okay? So now, let's get these strands in our fingers. So we've got our pointer and our thumb, and with either hand, grasp that middle strand by your middle finger. Your motion is to always have 2 strands of hair in one hand at one time. And the hand that has the middle strand will exchange it to the hand that only has 1 strand, okay? So let's pinch. And keep your thumbs or keep your fingers close to the scalp, because that ensures that your braid will be close to the scalp. Now, the bottom strand in the hand that has 2 strands is going to exchange that strand to your opposite hand, and it goes above the strand that you're already grasping. And remember, that middle finger needs to grasp it. So we are going to exchange, and the strand that was now grasped by the middle finger of the hand you just switched the strand from goes to the bottom position. It's as simple as that. We're gonna do that one more time before I add hair from the hair that's behind it. So we're going to take the strand at the bottom, move it over to your opposite hand into the middle finger, and now grasp it with that bottom pincher. So it is now in the bottom position. If you started with 2 strands in your right hand now has 2 strands again, okay? Now, in order to add hair to this 3-strand braid and keep it on the scalp, my suggestion is to pinch off a piece of hair on the side that your 2 strands are on, add it to the bottom strand, and now exchange it back to the opposing hand. Let's try that again. Now you have 2 strands in your left hand or the opposite hand. Grab a pinch of hair by that bottom strand, attach it to the bottom strand, and exchange it back to your right hand. Now we're in the beginning position. Now repeat those steps and grab small pieces in order for your braid to stay close to your scalp. Now, 1 rotation means that you have exchanged a bottom strand twice to your middle finger. So do at least 3 rotations until you have completed a few rounds of braiding on the scalp. Now, how'd you do, girl? Because I know you tired. Are your hands tired? Now, mind you, as you see, hair is tangling, right? We're dealing with natural hair. So ensure that you pull one of the strands out and take the knot that's there out. Gently detangle. Please don't go tearing up people's scalps, okay? Because that stuff hurts, right, girl?
For sure.
So take your time in grabbing hair and adding it to your strand before moving on to your next strand that you're moving. And please don't be scared to take your time, because this can be a little stressful if you've got a lot of hair moving around at the same time. Now, some common pitfalls. I've seen people go in and hold their strands out here. Be mindful that your braid is not going to be on the scalp. If you are holding your strands out here in your palms, it is not going to set on the scalp. And if you're pulling it forward, it is not going to sit on the scalp. It's going to be up in the air. Do not braid up here. Your hands need to be on the scalp, as close to the scalp as possible. Now, let's talk about tension. Did that hurt, honey? Did that hurt at all?
No.
You good? Okay. So we don't want to tear up scalps, right? What we want to do is to ensure that if your hands are achy, you are holding, you're clenching. We don't need you clenching. Let's make sure that your hands are relaxed but secure. If you feel like your hands are aching as you're holding these strands, relax your hands. There's a way to hold your strands without pulling too tight. Now let me make sure that my student understands. Tony. All right, Miss Tony. The comb is there. All right. Sorry. All right, Tony, well, come on down. What I'd like you to do is make sure that you align your rat tail with her forehead and nose to get your center parts. Awesome, awesome, awesome. All right, so go ahead and align your rat tail with that part that you created and go ahead and take it down to the nape of her neck. We're going to create a center part. Awesome. Now, Tony, before we go to our next part, let's go ahead and grab that braid gel. And let's take that right on down that part. And that's perfect amount, just enough to get that part saturated. And let's take the top of our comb and we're going to clean it up. So remember, that's the top part here. We're going to take it in short sections to go ahead and clean up the part. Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. Perfect. Now this is the key to making sure that your parts are clean. And we'll talk about that in class too. Clean parts take time. Braiding takes time. Give yourself grace, but you got this. Awesome. All right, so we got a clean middle part. Now let's go ahead and pick a side either side, and let's do a parallel part to the part you just created. And we'll take it from there. We'll repeat this step. Now, how big or small you decide to section out your part to braid, just don't make it too big. The bigger the parting, the bigger the braid, the harder, a lot more hair you have to deal with. So let's not do that. But keep it as, keep it fairly small, maybe even medium, just so you have enough hair to manage while you're learning. So consider that. Consider how big of a part you're making, but make sure it's parallel, please. Parallel to the middle part you created. All right, yes. Come on, parts. Yes, that's beautiful. All right, so let's go ahead and get that gel down. Now, I do strongly recommend if you have alligator clips, claw clips, braid it down, 2-strand twist it down, just to get it out your way, because Lord knows we don't want any extra hair getting in your way when you're braiding. So keep that in mind. Keep that in mind. And I'm going to be the kind educator and teacher that once she is ready to braid, I'm going to get all this hair out her way. So put claw clips, alligator clips, and get it out the way. And make sure also, if you do have a willing participant, they're not tender-headed. The struggle is real. Okay. Thank you so much for being not tender-headed. Thank you so much. Come on, clean parts. Wonderful, wonderful. The pressure's getting worse. All right, lovely, lovely, lovely. All right, I got you, girl. All this hair out the way. Beautiful. Okay, so if you will, go ahead and comb that braid gel through from the roots up through your braid so we don't have clumps of hair. What that does is that ensures that, again, just like I said, it's not clumps of gel on your scalp, and it'll help smooth your braid down better. So there's that. And as you see, as I'm braiding down my lovely assistant's braid, I'm doing an overhand braid. We will go through that a little bit later in class. All right. Wonderful, that looks lovely. All right, now Tony will demonstrate the proper underhanded braiding by starting in the front. Go ahead, Tony, you may section out your small piece in the front so that we can get a nice braid close to the hairline. All right, and go ahead and establish your 3 strands. And whether you have nails like Tony has or none like me, this can be accomplished. All right, so you've got your 2 strands in one hand and 1 strand in the other. Go ahead and do a rotation without adding hair from the scalp. So that's 1, 2, boom, so that's your complete rotation. Now do 1 more. 1, 2, perfect. So a lot of times I'll do a rotation or 2 before adding hair from the scalp. Now Tony, go ahead and proceed with your scalp braid with adding hair from the scalp in small sections. Now ensuring picking up very small pieces from the scalp and taking smaller rotations, you get a tight braid that is not overly tight, but it is secure to the scalp and it's a clean braid. And you pick up with both hands on both sides as you're picking up. Now also remember, as you can see, Tony is bringing the hair back towards her. That allows the braid to move towards you in the proper motion. You do not want to push that braid away. And what keeps that braid centered is if you're picking up hair and adding it to your strand that you're moving on each side. So pick up on each side, that keeps it right down the middle. Beautiful. How do you feel, hair model? Does it hurt?
No,
you feel wonderful?
I feel fine.
Well,
Thank you.
there you have it. If you need to take a moment to pause to get your braid together, pause the class and go ahead and practice your braid. Beautiful. Now there's never a rush to get it together, so make sure that you pay attention to how your hands feel as you're doing your braid. Make sure that you're not feeling any pain in your wrist or in your fingers. That is an indication that you are holding your hands too tight, so relax. Just remember, when you feel that sensation, relax. Oh girl, this is a nice beautiful braid. Oh, that's so pretty. Yes. Oh, that's so pretty. Okay, look. Come on, scalp braid. Mm-hmm. Oh, yes, yes, yes. Now, oftentimes common mistakes I do see with braid students is that they end up getting tired around the middle of the head and they begin to not pick up hair in small pieces. So just remember to keep your braid tight and secure to the scalp, small pieces on each side as you're going to the back of the head. And then your tip, which you can take with you to your feed-in class as well, is that as you get to the nape of the neck, to prevent tension and discomfort, make sure that you scoop the last piece of hair, put your finger, maybe an index finger, underneath that last piece of hair to scoop up into the braid and continue to braid down. That will allow a little bit of lag so that it's not pulling on the back hairline tightly. A lot of times there are white bumps that are created. We don't want that. We want to make sure that we're not causing any tension in the back hairline as well as the front. So do that little scoop technique. Your children and you will appreciate that tip. Okay? So that is an underhand braid. The characteristics of an underhand braid is that it's raised from the scalp. That's your traditional braids. Now, French braid, on the other hand, is the reverse of that. It looks like a fishtail. Great job, student Tony. I love to see it. Come on, nails. Wonderful. Beautiful. So, we have an underhand braid. It may not look exact when you do it for the first 2 times. Progress is key. So don't worry about perfection. Just worry about coming into your traditional scalp braid. Now, last but not least, I know we talked about overhand and underhand. I'm gonna show you the underhand version. This is not traditional. This is what we see in our old school goddess braids. You usually see them larger, or they're typically done in like 1 or 2 braids, nothing fancy. But we will go ahead and do our traditional French braids or overhand braids. And that is used in certain circumstances. But when it comes to doing a feed-in or just your traditional scalp braids with no hair added, we don't have to do any of that, but I'm gonna show you anyway. Now, I've set my part parallel to my center part. I am placing my gel in the part. I am taking my wide gap precision piece at the top, and I'm going through my part to ensure that I am cleaning the parts up. Because that is key, because that definitely will make and break a style. Getting this good old hair out the way. Boom. And last but not least, let's comb that braid gel through. And please be gentle. Again, although your person may not be tender-headed, it still hurts if you don't consider the client in the chair, whether it's your child or not. Be gentle with the hair. All right, so now that we have combed our product through, just to get clean precision, overhand braid. Same rules apply as far as keeping your hair or your braid close to the hairline. You still need 3 strands. However, instead of coming under your middle strand, you're going over. So overhand, your strands go over, but you're still adding the hair the exact same way. Now overhand is more of I don't call it an invisible braid, but it's close enough. It's a fishtail. It's what we have traditionally used for goddess braids, which are kind of sort of raised from the scalp with a lot more braid hair. But this is not the case when you're not adding hair. So let's get into it. It's not as refined or defined as your traditional raised or underhanded braid, but we don't traditionally use this technique in scalp braids. So if you're going to do a braid, or if you are braiding or have some level of braiding skill and you're doing it this way, throw it in the trash, okay? Throw it in the trash. We do not need this right now. We need underhand. Got it? So tilt your head down. This is what we have. Overhand, underhand, overhand, underhand. Underhand is key if that's what you're looking for. All right, take some time to practice, y'all. Take some time to practice, and we'll reconvene in a moment. All right, so we made it back. Are your hands tired? Yes, so if you did everything correctly, then you should not have fatigue. But if you notice that your hands, this goes with hand placement, if you notice that your hands feeling kind of tired, feeling kind of cramped, we've got to adjust your hand positioning. So we just went over our braiding fundamentals. So by now you should have learned proper hand placement. We should have learned our 3-strand technique. You now know that we're either double dutching in, which is our Dutch braid, or we're double dutching out with our overhand braid. And we've got proper hand technique. So with that said, please watch out for these mistakes. Do not be the person to hold your hair in your palms. You're not going to control those 3 strands. That's a common mistake. Now also be mindful of your hand position. If it's holding tight and it's gripping too close to the scalp, white bumps are a good sign of too tight of a grip. Now, make sure that you're not gripping too tight because your hands also will cramp. Do not let them cramp. Last but not least, we're gonna make sure that we are not pulling hair forward. Do not pull hair forward. We wanna bring it back to ourselves and ensure that we are creating the motion of the braid back towards us, not away from us. If we're pushing that braid away, it's not gonna be a braid anymore. It's gonna look sloppy. But thank you for braiding basics. I'll see you in class 2.